And I played it for like 4 hours and I was like, huh? Why? New Cycle is a really amazing game, but you need to play it right at the start and learn some things that took me way too long to learn in order to be most effective and don't die. So let me guide you through those in this beginner's guide. I will use my main seed in order to guide you through some things because it will be easier to show you here, and for some tips I will go to the new area. First things first, you got different time controls here, and the game speed isn't that linear. So the first one, you can pause the game, but while you pause the game you can't really do anything. You have that set game to 0.1 speed, which is like a tilde key, and it's basically a snail speed, so everything's very slow. This is where you plan everything if you need time to think about something. Rest of the speeds are there for going through the content, and maximum speed is 3 times, so it's pretty good, it's comfortable. You can play it on 3 times speed unless you need to react to some events in the game. Important thing about the housing that I did horrible mistake for housing placement over here. So when I started the run, I started placing houses straight next to our main hall, and that's really a bad idea. Basically, you would like to leave the place in the center for pub, infirmary and other support buildings. You will need, well, at least 2 for health and entertainment support, and build the houses around them. Right now, if I would have to build a new district, and I would have to build a new district, I would do it differently. I would place a pub, then an infirmary next to it, and after that, all the residences or the shacks will be around it, and they will be surrounded by the roads. So just like that, we can fit way more houses in the same area, and we will have to spend less resources to support them. And honestly, you don't really need anything for the houses. You don't need any special roads or support or anything. Everything is being moved automatically, at least early on. It's pretty easy. You just add the buildings and they will work. And yeah, I would find the area that doesn't have any important resources and build a town over there. They don't really need a lot of time to move from one area to another. As you can see, construction is happening here, even though no one actually arrived. So all the resources are moving automatically to the storage and moved out of the storage to do the construction. It's pretty easy, and you don't need to have everything close by unless you would like to use those conveyor belt systems. That's for advanced guy. Some of the decisions in the game are a bit annoying, and yeah, early on I decided to be a good guy, and that didn't pay it off because we got very low workforce. Sometimes you just have to let it go in order to continue working properly. So when you select one of the buildings, you can see the workforce over here. By default, it's 100, and then every time you apply the new regulation, it might affect you in one way or another. So in our case, with our debuffs over here, if we put one worker in some buildings that require a lot of workers, it will just won't work. Like for example, this mine. So if we remove, let's say, most of the workers here, right, it will be ineffective or won't work at all. So 3 people here will basically produce nothing. And in order to make those buildings work, you will need to staff them for real in order to produce more. And for the most buildings, early on especially, you will get more workers and less craftsmen, and that means that each craftsman worth more points. So it's really essential and beneficial to get more of those and fit as many of them as possible. So if we remove one of the workers, it will be only -7 workforce, while removing one of the craftsmen will cost us 15 workforce. On average, they are like twice as effective as a worker. Moreover, you can see the operating class star over here. That means that you need at least 1 employee of that type in the building in order for it to work. Otherwise, even if we remove them all, the building will not work, even though it have the positive workforce. That means that you need at least 1 worker in order for it to work. Efficiency is another multiplier that will affect your production speed, and basically depending on the building, depending on your perks that you decided to pick, it might be higher or lower. So now you guys know how workforce works, and yeah, since you will get to upgrade at some point, you should know that upgraded buildings are most of the time more efficient. For example, we have the normal forge over here that produces 6 of the copper ingots per day, and then we get the smelter that will produce 35 of those per day. Wow, that's crazy difference. Why? There we go. It adjusted. Now it's 9 per day. So usually advanced building will give you about 25 to 50% increase in productivity. That means that in this case, we also need a lower amount of population per building, which will be a really important issue for you because you will need more workers all the time. And yeah, it's more efficient, but it will cost more energy. So I would advise going for high tier production, well, tier 2 and higher basically, only when you get enough electricity production. Otherwise, if you will lose power, you will start getting all kinds of random stuff. Your buildings will stop working, you might not have enough electricity for your housing, and people will get unhappy, sick and everything, so you really don't want that, and you want to have some of that extra. Early tip for power would be building the windmills in the proper area where you will get the most from them. So in this map, for example, this is the spot, and you can see that we have bunch of those things working here, and they were supporting my village for a while before I actually got to the coal generators. Those things are great, they're very efficient, and I think you need one coal mine in order to support 2 of those generators easily, and that gives you insane amount of power to start up your industrialization and production. So yeah, I would advise building industry in one area and residential houses in other area. That would allow you to focus more on their needs, and basically it will be more cost effective. Now let's talk about the housing a little bit. I haven't found any significant difference between the shacks and the higher tier residences. Residences will have 2 additional housing slots, so you can house 2 more people there, but first of all, they cost more, not that much. The main important thing that they will cost more electricity, and early on you will need that electricity a lot for your production. So I'm still with the shacks for the most of the base, and it feels totally okay. Same goes for your storage, storehouses and stockpiles and all those buildings. They are basically can be placed anywhere on the map. Nobody brings anything in and out for real, so you can place it whatever you feel like. Now for the resource gathering. First things first, you would like to use gathering camps and field camps as much as possible, because those things are very effective, and in terms of iron, for example, or stone, or well, basically anything, those things are great. They get 100% workforce, and you need only 3 workers here. So 3 workers produce 36 iron per day over here. The only problem, they are limited by your deposits. If you have enough, you're good. If not, well, you will have to rely on the mines. And since 1 worker produced 12 iron over there, here in the basic mine at least, the advanced mines might be better, but we only get the basic mines early on. Was that 12 people produce only 70 iron per day, which is way less effective than the normal gathering thing that doesn't require energy, that doesn't require anything. You can put it anywhere, don't get roads, and they will work just fine. So early on, just exploit those. You don't really even need them to be placed on the separate deposits. You can just stock them up and use the deposits next to your base, and you'll be good. So yeah, although I would advise spreading them out through all the deposits on the map in order to make them last for longer. That way you will have that steady income of inflow of resources that you need for production without too much of a hassle. So that might be better idea if you ask me. So right, now let's talk about the resources, and you got your wells here. Wells are different. So for the wells, you need them to be on the water deposit, and once well claims their water deposit, you can build any more wells over there. So the water income that you have will be very limited, and early on you might go well with the resources that are next to your base, but after some time you would like to occupy all of those nodes and get as many of those wells as possible. I basically had wells on every water deposit on the map, and only then I had enough production for my needs. If you demolish the building, you will get, I think, 50% of the resources. 3 wood and something stone, the well costs 5 wood, and yeah, about half of the resources that you spend for the construction. So don't worry about that, that's not that much, and you can raise them as much as you want. What I like about the wells, that they don't require any workers or electricity or anything. They will just harvest the water by themselves at a really good rate, and early on I would advise you to place one well per water deposit. So you can place it for 3 deposits, and that means that you will have more water storage, but the production will be the same, and it's only useful for the upgraded ones. It kind of pumps out the water faster, so that might exhaust your single deposit, while when you have well, it will usually won't exhaust the normal whole water deposit. So you can create like 2 wells over here and maybe 2 wells over here, and so on and so on, and that will be way more efficient. You will get way higher water production, and you won't need to spend electricity on the water pumps like I do over here, because water pumps have 160 per day production, but the well have 96 per day production, so the difference isn't that significant, about 50%. And this one doesn't require anything from you, so you can stockpile your water just like that. Now let's talk about the food and food production. This is not that complex as it might seem. You already know that you can use the gathering camps in order to harvest different resources. Honestly, I prefer the mushroom soup. It's more efficient for cooking. So for the basic meal in your kitchen, you will have mushroom soup that requires 6 mushroom, 2 water, and will give you this is different. In the normal kitchen, the production rate will be the same for all types of food, but in the soup kitchen, mushroom soup will be more efficient. So early on, that will be the better way to feed your people, because mushrooms are easy to get. Moreover, this recipe doesn't require you anything else, so you can get like 2 soup kitchens in order to produce mushroom soup, and one for example, I don't know, fried meat, and one for vegetable stew afterwards. So that might work. Exploit all the resources that you gather. That will be more efficient for you, so you will get variety of resources, and you can get more food overall. As for the actual farms, once you unlock Kale Yard, you will be able to produce vegetables that you use for the production of food. Once again, this is same as windmills. I thought at first that they kinda claim those deposits, but in reality they just want to have as many of them as possible in their vicinity. That means that you can put like 5 of those here in a row and enjoy the maximum productivity. And you will need a couple of those, because kale yards can produce vegetables and herbs, and you will need those herbs for medicine later on. You will need vegetables for the soup, and so on. Same goes for the farms. We got a bunch of those farms over here, and they all work pretty well. Their productivity and efficiency is kinda close. That means that they don't steal resources from each other. So yeah, find areas on your map where you have a lot of those and try to fit as many of those buildings as possible over there. After that, when you get to tier 2, you'll be able to make orchard, and that building doesn't require any farming ground, which is fantastic. You can place it anywhere, and it will give you production of either fruits or logs, just if you feed it water. So you can place it anywhere, and don't use this fertile ground for that. It's better for the stuff that needs that fertile ground. Same goes for the barn. Barn is actually pretty fantastic, because you get this building, it consumes electricity, yes, but you need only 1 worker here in order to produce either the dairy or produce 39 meat and skins per day, which is, I don't know if it's more efficient than actual hunting, because I have plenty of that stuff over here, but it could be a good solution if you don't have enough of that from whatever sources you have. And yeah, guys, keep it in mind that availability of the resources is limited, and it's being refreshed every spring for all the gathering camps, for the water, and basically that's it, I think. So yeah, depending on the weather, on the amount of rain you will get during the year, you will get higher or lower amount of replenishment of the resources in the spring. And what you need to do, you need to get ready for the winter, because winter is cold and annoying, and you will get some debuffs. First of all, farms and mushroom gathering is halted, so that means that you will have less productivity for that time, and you will have minus 20 health for your people. This is the worst, because early on I lost maybe 80% of my village because I did the wrong thing. I will tell you what you need to do. You go to that management of your character and take a look at their health. How does the health works? You got 3 lines over here. Oh my god, I can't point to it. I hope we will zoom in and see it clearly. The red line at the bottom is deadly limit. Once you pass that, people will start dying if they are sick. Above that, the gray zone. It's better, but it's still dangerous. and above the gray zone, your people will stay healthy. So you got different debuffs that can affect your health of your people. But by default, you got distribution of low for all the resources. That means that it will affect their health negatively. Because you can see here that the food distribution rate, water distribution rate is one of their buffs or debuffs. Take a look at that. If we remove the water to the low distribution, that will give him a lower amount of health. We can see it here yet, it takes time. I don't want to kill my guys. But yeah, basically that will increase chance of sickness. Same with the food. Low distribution, your people are unhappy. Low, people are unhappy. And overall, that will lead to the horrible conditions and your people will die. So what you need to do early on, when you just start, get enough food and water for your guys. You won't be able to get clothes early on or tools, but you will be able to get simple meals and water. Get enough to make it, well, enough so your health will be positive. At least in the sickness star, the gray zone. If it goes in the red zone, oh my god, you don't want to lose your population early on. Another tip for you guys, when you are deciding how many of those you would like to put, you can mouse over your meal here and you can see the production. So we got 277 meal production per day. That means extra distribution won't work for us. Let's go with a normal one. And with the water we have like 1.8k production, and this requires 1.4k, so we can do that no problem. And just like that, you can decide on each of those needs of the people and assign them how you want. Moreover, you can assign the workforce over here. Lower workforce will give them higher health boost so they won't die. It's a really bad idea because that will lower your productivity. I always try to keep it around 1, but yeah, sometimes you gotta get it higher if you have issues with the production, or get it lower if you need to get your people healthy. So keep it in mind and balance it out. And yeah, later on you will have to balance it out for each type of your population, so don't forget about specific guys over here. So yeah, for the resources, your priority should be getting enough food production and water production early on. After that goes, your building materials and all that stuff, because you need a lot of people. Because in order to get to the next cycle, you have two requirements: your knowledge, which is early pretty easy to get, and then your population. And population is really hard to get, so in our case we need more knowledge now. That's actually pretty interesting. Before that, I always had issue with the population not reaching the requirement. And new cycles will unlock new researches for you that you can do in order to, well, make it great, make it work. Since we're talking about the resources, some of the resources can be produced faster or slower. So if you upgrade your basic forge to the smelter, you can produce more iron. Same for those buildings. Now it's metalwork, and before that it was what? Smith. So they produce more tools now and more wire and everything. But some resources are really weird. Early on, I wasn't producing that much clay and bricks because I couldn't use them, but once I got to tier 2, I need insane amount of those things because they're being used basically with every building. If you want to build something, you need bricks, you need bricks, you need bricks, and that's always slowing me down. So yeah, sometimes you might want to rearrange the production priorities, remove something, change the production for something that you need right now in order to boost yourself. Another thing you might want to do is go to your storehouse and increase maximum capacity of your food. For example, let's make it 4,000, and I want more of the advanced food as well. There we go, fair meal, let's get it 2,000. So yeah, you can increase the limit of storage for the resources that are really important for you, because once again, you can build a lot of those storehouses or stockpiles without any issues. Stockpiles is just 9 logs. We can kind of fill everything with them and don't worry about that too much. So let's place one over here as well, and maybe later we will upgrade them. I really don't want to spend my electricity for storage, and now it's kinda almost capped. And yeah, take an eye on the resources. You can switch the resource panel over here for double row of resources, but the thing is, sometimes you might want to switch something around. So you can right click on the resource that you have over here and pick the one that you want over here. You have to do them one by one, and you can customize it how you want. Honestly, I haven't figured out the best how to place them here, but basic one seems to work okay because it kind of shows you most of the stuff. If you are sure that logs will never be issue for you. You can replace them for something that you have issues with in your production cycles. Now let's talk about overview and reports. That's really important because here you will get some useful information. Settlement, here you get the statistics of your base, how everything works, nothing really crazy here. It's pretty straightforward. You can check out all your regulations and stuff. What I want to see here is life. You can check the health of your population here. It's pretty straightforward as well. Supply and services, that's easy to get. But attraction here is really important. That means how many people will join your village or offer to join your village every year. And in order to increase that, you will need to increase attractiveness. Getting your better condition for the workforce, that means a lower work time, isn't our priority because we need a productivity, but increasing food quality, food distribution rate, water distribution rate might work. Housing is important as well. Now we have a lot of free houses, so this is very positive. We got negative healthcare. I'm not sure why. We gotta take a look into that. And there is a thing that's called outer awareness. And I really had no idea what's that before I actually figured it out. In the world map, yes, you will get to the world map at some point and scout a lot of areas. You can build yourself the watchtowers. And those things will increase your awareness. And I advise you guys to build it in every area because they are very cheap. Take a look at that. They cost only 25 lumber, 26 and 12 iron ingots. But in the end, each of those will give you really nice bonus and surprise. You don't need workforce over here in order to get the bonus from the watchtower. So it will get it by default. So there we go. We established 2 watchtowers and we had 40 awareness before. Now it's 60. So each watchtower will give us 10 outer awareness, and as it will increase, we will get more and more people going to the town. That might be useful for you if you want to grow your population faster. I really was struggling with this early on. And also there are other overviews here that are really convenient, so you can see each person here to see their needs, to see how they are doing and what's happening. So it will be easier to control your population and see why they are unhappy. And then you can see all your structures in order to see how they work. And materials is the most important one. Here you can go for, I would advise, last year's total balance, and that way you can see what's lacking in your town. If something is negative, usually you would like to take a closer look at that line and see what's wrong, because if you will run out of something, that will break your production chain and something will go really wrong and you don't want that. You can even group it by categories and cycle, like the tier of production. That's pretty cool. Then you got the regions. The regions is your map areas that are giving you the resources. And I learned it the hard way, they are pretty useless early on. So when we go to the map, we got, let's say, this tundra area, right? And we assign 8 workers over here. And what do they produce? They produce only 21 iron ore for 2 of those mines. Why? Because they are lazy? No. Because we don't have the road here. Once we will build the road, it will increase daily production by quite a lot and it will be more efficient. Even better if we will build the loading zone. That will increase production even more and it will be more effective. Right now, if you don't have the road, I wouldn't advise placing workforce over here because it's inefficient. So we have these highlands that have the road and we have 8 workers here and they produce 78 meat, 150 water and 33 logs. This is way better production than it would be before, and you can customize it here as well, so you can turn it on and off and adjust it how you see fit. And yeah, I actually explored most of the map, and yeah, other areas that are far away are not that much different from what you have here. At first I somehow couldn't build the road there, but yeah, after some time I figured out that I can do that. And you would like to pick the region that have the resources that you like the most. I advise something like ore, tin, that kind of stuff. At some point it will be water, because you won't have enough water production in your base and you would like to get it from the outside, and the only way to do that is through the map, so you will have to do that at some point. So try to use your resources wisely. And yeah, basically that's the main thing that I wanted to tell you. Tier 1 buildings are the easiest one to construct. Tier 2 usually requires higher tier of resources, and most buildings can be upgraded. Some don't though. We get a kiln here that will stay like that forever, so brick production, at least for now, will be slow. So yeah, maybe later on it will be available, but right now it's not a thing for us, and that's actually pretty sad. So yeah, your main goal overall will be balancing out your resource production, so everything will be in the green zone, so you will have more and more stuff. And guys, please, I beg you, make stockpiles, store resources, make extra. Don't be like extremely efficient, get some extra, because you can get some random events in the game, and some of those, I won't spoil it to you, some of those almost destroyed, almost wiped my city here, and I played it for like 4 hours and I was like, huh? Why? And I'm playing this on normal, by the way. I decided to make an easier playthrough, and I don't regret that. If I would go harder difficulty, I would be dead by now. So yeah, guys, those are the basic tips, and I hope they will help you out, because the game is great. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. If you need extra help, if you have more questions, ask them down below in the comments, so other people, I might answer them. If you get the tips, share them as well. Check out the video description for the playlist with more guides on New Cycle or my playthrough where I struggle, which is pretty fun. And yeah, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That will help me out a lot, and I would be really grateful. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. It's been Stan Kosh. Have a good one. Bye.